What's up, y'all? Y'all are listening to Living Corporate's flagship podcast. If you didn't know, Living Corporate helps organizations build employee engagement and market trust through data analytics and data transformation, our e-learning platform, and brand marketing storytelling. We're so excited for you to be here today. The conversation you're about to hear is going to connect the dots between employee experience and go-to-market effectiveness. If you're not ready, get ready. Here we go. Yo, it is a pleasure and an honor. Cam Ward, man, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How's your day going?
It's going well. You know, it's interesting. Like, you're one of the few people I can say that, and we've had this conversation off mic before, but you're one of the few black men, young people who I would say like are in my cohort, who are like in this entrepreneurial founder space and work. And BlkMeninTech is a nonprofit, Living Corporate is not, but like who I really feel like I can have frank and honest conversations with. Like, and it's weird because I feel like one time you and I had a discussion and I said, man, I just assumed because you're so gregarious, I just assumed you talk to mad people like me. I was like, who else do you talk to that like y'all coordinate, y'all share, y'all refer? And you were like, nobody.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yep. Yeah.
That's weird to me still, but like I just want to say I appreciate you because thinking about just especially this landscape that we're in now where first of all, I mean, it's white supremacy makes blackness challenging, period. So that's not. I'm not going to sit back and say this is hard. It's a hard season for black folks. It's a hard season for black folks in America because we in America. But there's a bunch of intersecting challenges right now for small black business owners, black men in America, large black men in America, if I may say. Talk to me about just how you're holding and handling, navigating all the work you're doing at BlkMeninTech, like in this really strained season.
Yeah. So honestly, that's a really good question, man. And sometimes people don't hold space for you to actually ask, like, are you really okay? And I think that's what you're asking now. And for me, it's about just managing, right? So it's not even trying to go over and beyond. It's like managing and keeping things afloat. What that means is that continue to deliver high power programs for individuals, particularly black men, to hold space, hold community, but also understand the world that you're working in where, different partners and sponsors and making sure that you keep the main thing, but it may show up very differently, right? It may be culture engagement. It may be employee experience. It may be name something else, right? But you still have brands that are committed to doing the work. Just got to do it in what we call a new way. So for me right now, it's just about managing all the things, keeping everything afloat, holding all the balls at the same time, if you will. Trying to ensure that things don't drop off because, myself and my upbringing says that we can do a lot with a little bit. We just got to figure out what we're doing. And if you keep, your eyes on the goals and the experience of other and not making a monetary thing, but a progressive thing where it's all about the purpose, you might not get X dollars this year, or you might not get X sponsorships this year, but you might impact 400 people that get new jobs. You might have 300 conversations that make it make sense. You might help 200 students apply to universities that they probably wouldn't have applied to before. And that is the win for us, and that's the win for me.
Yeah, what I'll say, what I found so encouraging about, again, like just getting to know you, right? Because now it's been, I don't know, it feels like it's been.
We've been rocking for a minute, man.
It's been a while, right? It's been like 6 years.
Don't ditch yourself now.
It might be like 5 or 6 years. The reason I say it's like 5 or 6 years because I want to say my oldest was a baby when we first got connected, and it had to be 5 or 6 years ago because I was still on Fishbowl. So, and that's how we got connected with random. Yeah. So
you taking off on. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's relax. So what's interesting is that you know, to your point about not focusing on the monetary and being like more mission and impact focused.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference in speaking to it and actually living and practicing it. It's rare to meet people of any age, of any generational context, really mean that. But
Yes.
I can assuredly, so I can say with like the more confidence, literally than anybody else I know, that you really
Hmm.
practice and live that. What what does that look like now, particularly when it comes to like the sponsorships and relationships, right? I think about like with Living Corporate, our relationships are not, they're sponsorships, but they're really like they're like client relationships, right?
Right.
So I'm selling you on the value of a service I'm going to provide back to you, or a product experience. Obviously there's still a relationship there, but I'm not necessarily selling you on a mission in the same
Hmm.
way, right? Because ultimately,
Yeah.
I would think with the brands and the sponsors that you work with, it's like obviously they're looking to get something out of it. They're looking to get, to your point,
Right.
conversations and talent referrals, and they're looking
Right.
to get marketing and branding and things of that nature. So there's obviously a value exchange, but also a key part of their contribution to sponsorship of Black Men in Tech is a belief that those
Yeah.
on the margins have every right and need support to engage in an industry that has been historically disproportionately unfair to them. So like
Yes.
in a context, this is a living court podcast. I'm gonna say what I want to say in an increasingly fascistic context, where corporations have been overwhelmingly encouraged to be dismissive of those on the margins. When you say kind of doing things in a new way, like what does that mean as it pertains to giving the type of support and building the relationships that you need for Black men in tech to thrive? No pun.
See, no, 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 all pun, bro. We starved, bro. We 10 days out, man. It's all pun intended. Listen. Here's the deal. When you build relationships, when you build real relationships, when they solid, the world can't break them.
Hmm.
What I've been able to build, and I'm not being pompous about it, but being factual. I've been able to build relationships with brands that supersedes what the climate is currently today. All right, I built relationships with brands that really understand and believe what we're doing, and it played some part in it in the past 5 years. Now, consistently have um, brands have been, on a partnership as far as monetary. Not all of them, but everybody always do what they can. I told another brand a brand the other day, a new brand that was kind of trying to see what we're doing and see how to get involved. I told them that BlkMeninTech is like Switzerland for all companies. What that means is that I'm not battling for talent or space or the microphone here. What I'm doing though, what brands are doing, are helping each other. I said that's why you'll see us at one brand event and you'll see 4 or 5 of our partners from other companies at the same event, even if it's out of town and making sense because we built the culture and the foundation that we're trying to help people no matter what. Right. So once you build that foundation, man, it's easy to work with people and have authentic and true conversation about where they are and how can we ensure that we keep Black Men in Tech going. And I think that's the difference between us and other brands that or other organizations that are having hardships in a way that they go about corporate sponsorship. And let's be fair about it now. We all in the same boat, right? But it's like, how do you manage and pedal that boat?
Hmm.
Will get you to the finish line, right?
Right.
It gets you over to your next year. So for us, we just do it very uniquely and very different, and that's the honestly the saving grace of the organization is that we build real relationships with real brands that understand not just our mission but our vision and the way we want to go, and from that helps them understand that, okay, Cam, we can't call it this no more, but we can call it this. Okay, I see you, struggling here, or okay, cool, we'll help you out here, right? And we just get very creative, man, to make it happen.
You know, something that you said about kind of like we're all in the same boat. But first, before I actually move on to that, let me speak to this piece too around like just the willingness to be flexible. I think we're learning that too at Living Corporate is there's so much around, you know, I think I'm thankful that we have a team here that is also future forward. So they're thinking about they're looking at the tea leaves. So like, you know, that's why 2 years ago we changed some of our nomenclature and frankly even like reshaped our brand and our even our product and service strategy because we anticipated that there was going to be increasing backlash to some of these things and that some of the people that maybe wanted to buy from us were going to struggle to buy in the same way or work with us. They were going to struggle to work with us in the same way because they were going to be facing headwinds from their leadership because of what they thought things were. And so we wanted to help them, right? And so to your point about like, hey, we can't call it this or we can't call it that, but we can do this, or hey, we need to expand the scope and make sure that the language is inclusive of all people, or we need to make sure the language is explicit that this is about enterprise uplift and not necessarily one or a few stakeholder groups or whatever the case is, right? And so I think for me, when I hear that, like that brings me joy because when I think about the future of work and I think about like sustainable organizations, I believe that you can choose the path of like trying to fight for terminology that may or may not stay or leave, or you can just be focused on actual result and impact, right? Because
Yep.
if you're to your point at the top of this conversation, when you prioritize impact, then like changing, pivoting on language or pivoting on framing,
Right.
it's just it's fairly petty, right? Like it's more than doable.
Mm.
But let's talk about this though. So you know, you talked about like we're all in the same boat. When you say that, um, I'm curious. Like Black Men in Tech, as one of the things I love about Black Men in Tech is it's an actual living community, right? There's
Mhm.
you have college campuses looking to build like chapters. You have like people who are excited. You and I have talked about this off mic for years of like you have these multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar organizations calling you about helping you get into an event. They want free shirts. They want this, that, and the third. One of the things that I love about Black Men in Tech is that y'all actually help people find jobs.
Mhm.
What, if anything, are you learning in this season where layoffs are becoming an ever increasing norm,
Mhm.
and black and brown people are being disproportionately impacted by those layoffs?
Yeah, so so I was just talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about one job rec at Disney, right? One job rec at Disney. Someone told me had over 4,500 applicants. That is wild,
That's
right?
crazy.
That is wild. So that just tell me a lot of people need jobs, right?
Hmm.
What I think is beneficial in this time in this space is not about like what you know or what your resume look like. It's about who you know. And the reason why Black Men in Tech had a hiring number last quarter of I think about 13, 14 people, it's not because I mean, cool, they was stellar resumes, yes, but that wasn't the only thing. It's about we can pick up a phone, we can send a text. I'm not even talking about email. We're not even talking about LinkedIn messages.
Hmm.
Really, people that we before I told you about building relationship and trusted partner to move that individual up a pipeline to get their resume actually seen and by a recruiter and a hiring manager. So in this season, I tell people and I'm urge people anytime I have opportunity, make sure your network tight.
Hmm.
Make sure you have people that can call people for you. And our membership network is that same way. It's just like, yo, we pick up the phone and call people, call VPs, SVPs, hell, even call the CEO. Hey, I got a guy, or I got a woman that's absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
Oh, well, check out this person's resume, and we're texting resumes to people. That's a different way of doing things in a way where the job market is flooded. We had two people that just got on at two major brands in the last 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Why? I'm sure they had tons of applicants, right? Because these are really big brands,
Yeah.
but it's about getting to the right people. So I would tell people, make sure your network tight. make sure your circle tight enough that you can text someone a resume. Don't email them. Call is great, but if I can text you a resume to say, "Hey, check this out," or "Hey, look at this," or "Oh, here's an open rec," now you're really doing business, right? And once people do that or have that type of network and doing those type of things, I think that it'll be better than just doing a cold call email application and hopefully you hear back.
Yeah, it's so 100%. It's funny. It I haven't really like gotten a job through just a cold job portal, and
Hmm.
um, I've never gotten a job through a job portal. I had
And
th-
think about it.
I almost said
Oh,
like, because the time I was thinking about it wasn't through the job portal. It was because I had a relationship with somebody, and so you're 100% right. And like even to the point where like it would just be a phone call. And I think so. Two things there is like the relationships, they're going to constantly matter,
yeah,
and they don't they the need of relationship, they actually increase as you age, right?
yeah,
And the thing what also sticks out to me about what you spoke to is like it's critical to build those networks and relationships during times of feast so that you have space during times of famine.
come on,
Because if you
come
try
on,
to
man.
build the
Run
relationship,
it back. Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't skip that. Don't skip that. Come on,
no, it's
come
just
on, man.
it's important to build the relationships
That's
while
the
think
bar.
while in times of feast, so that you don't have to experience times of famine, or rather during times of famine you can start reaching out, right? So I think about you and I, right? So
Put that on the shirt.
when
Hey,
you
put that.
when you and I when you oh, by the way, that reminds me, you never sent I gotta send you, we should trade shirts. I've yet to get a Black Men in Tech,
I have yet. I don't have no swag
and I
for
need
them.
and I need to send,
I'm
and so
telling everybody.
we need to
I'm
do
telling everyone on this podcast. I do not have
we need to
swag.
do a swag. We need to do a swag swap. Okay, we need so
Yeah,
like, and you now y'all don't know. Cam is really like, if for those who, because I'm a millennial. Back in the day, the first Pokemon was red and blue, and in red and blue they had Mewtwo, and that was supposed to be this rare Pokemon. But the rarest Pokemon was Mew. Mew was so rare. Mew wasn't even in the game until you had to do a little. That's Cam. You can't catch him. Okay, Cam is Mew. Y'all know that.
hey, I show up when you need me. Though. I
Yeah,
say, hey,
yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, all right.
yeah, that's all
Yeah,
good.
okay.
That's,
Okay. Let's keep it moving. So anyway, before we get off this, before we get done, we're gonna do a merch swap. But my point is, I think about a relationship, right? I think about, so you and I, we met through another virtual community space event. But then like while we met while you were working somewhere and I was working somewhere. Like
yeah,
we had feasts. Like you was working somewhere and you had Black Men in Tech. I was working somewhere and had Living Corporate. And then like we traded network, right? I can't think about how many times I've been like, "Hey Cam, meet do," and I text you dada. You be like, "Hey Zach, come on and meet this person that insert brand here." And I was like, "All right, cool, dada." Like, "Hey, Zach, come on, man, like come to this event with me so you can like dada." Right? It's about and
drag you to an event and be like, "Yo, you doing this thing because you don't really. That's not your thing, but it need to be a
it
thing."
needs to be my
And your
thing.
boy say, "Come on, we're gonna do this together."
It's
Kicking and
it's
screaming.
it's love. No,
And
no,
I
it's
hold on, wait. And I don't even know if y'all know, Zach isn't a little person. Zach is like 6'7", right?
stop.
Super,
Stop.
super, and listen,
Stop.
super. And I'm like, yo, I'm pulling him, and I'm the little guy, and I'm not.
Stop.
I'm pulling him like, yo, let's do this. You know
Stop.
what I'm saying? So
Relax.
yeah, so
So no,
but that's what
no, it's super
you
fair.
do, you know.
No, no,
Yeah,
it's
that's what you do.
no, it's true. And like, and you're right. Like because when you walked up on me, you were like, "Dang, you way taller than I thought." And I was like, you were shocked, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And so, and I think it's funny because
Yeah,
on outset, I think it's easy to assume the podcaster is like a super type A or super,
right.
whatever. And like I like engaging people. My social battery drains different,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so it's important though to have relationships with people who, it's important to build those relationships again, like while times are really great, because when times are tough, the patience wears thin different also. And the capacity is different, right? So like, you know, I just love when you say you were all in the same, but I felt everything of what you meant behind that when you said it. It's like, so like right now, there's no organization, there's no small business I'm talking to that isn't facing or having challenges economically because of just the market, everything. Like there's no business, there's no small business that's really just doing exceedingly well right now. Everyone's trying to figure it out and navigate. And so the truth of the matter is the capacity I have for one-on-ones and can I pick your brain and can we network and stuff like that is much lower than it was 3 years ago. So like, yeah, I'm gonna always make time if Cam calls me, but I might not make time for this random person that's trying to introduce themselves to me right now because, hey, listen, if it's not about a relationship, bread, net, I genuinely don't have the capacity to do it, right? And so it's tough, right? And that is not to say if you are in that position, hey, God bless you, and still push and build those relationships. Just recognize that it's going to be a harder road than those who maybe built a circle
Right.
some time ago.
No, and I'm gonna double down on that because think about the privilege to be selective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you can also say, I don't have the capacity to, right? And that's very admirable, and that's very thought conscious, and that's very like, setting expectations, which is great, right? But what about the cat that cannot? You know what I'm saying? That try to do everything but fail at most of it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you try to do everything at the same time because you feel as though you have no choice but to. And that's the type of spot sometimes that we have what happens at Black Men in Tech. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing so much, we're trying to meet the needs of the community. The community needs are so much, and then you'll go somewhere and somebody be like, hey, you didn't respond to my email, or you didn't respond to our, you didn't do that. And it's just like, understand, like, it's so much going on, right? So while some people can say, hey, I can't do this right now, I don't have the bandwidth, which is definitely needed, communications are needed. Sometimes a little space and grace to operate is important because you might not be the thing right at that moment, but it'll circle back, and that circle back may be even stronger than your initial reach out,
It might
because
be.
because it's all well intended for the most part, but at the same time, your capacity is your capacity. So if you're supposed to be here, 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 and have this mean, that mean, that mean, and also do these community events and this sort of thing, you you're biting off more than you can chew, but you got to bite it.
You know, there's something to be said about. I'm just thinking about that Rick Ross me. I'm gonna bite it anyway. But I just think there's something to be said about. I'm thinking about like everything we're talking about with like this landscape, the pressures, relationships,
Mhm.
capacity, network, and now like I feel like I want to talk about Thrive Conference.
Yeah, yeah.
Thrive Conference is so dope, and what's so special to me about Thrive, unlike, and we're not about to do that. I'm not about to shoot at other Black tech conferences.
Nah, no, we ain't gonna
We're
do
not,
that. We
we're
just
not
gonna
gonna do
keep
that.
it moving.
We're not
And
gonna
all
do that.
we're
We're not
gonna
gonna
talk
do
about.
that. We're not gonna do that. But what I will say is, what I appreciate about Thrive is that Thrive keeps the main thing the main thing, and there's something special about something that is so. And it's so funny because Thrive is not small. Like when I went,
Mhm,
like I think it had to be 2 years ago because
mhm.
it wasn't last year because that was the storm.
Last year was hurricane,
It
Hurricane
was the
Matthew.
year before that,
Mhm.
and um, what blew my mind about Thrive was clearly there was real support, coordination behind it, and like I find public events, I find all of that so incredible because while I have had to like steer and lead committees for events, I've never been the one to do that work. So I'm looking at it like wow. But what I also saw was a clear commitment to serving the people. I remember walking into Thrive and I was on something, but I did something, but I spoke on a panel. I spoke something, but irrespective of what I did, what the main thing I remember was I was walking and I saw a line of high school kids walking in wearing like suits and ties and stuff, and then some of them weren't wearing. Was
looking
also
very dressed up, like they were
looking
going.
really dressed up, like they were going somewhere very important, and they were. But I just remember all these little black kids and black boys and girls, teens, in these spaces. Then I saw a couple of some college kids, and I just remember them all looking around like, "Dang, this is fire!" Like they sat down and they were just so impressed. And so I remember kind of walking up to you, or walking up to you. We were walking together, and somehow it came out that they didn't even pay anything, right? You just made sure they got in because they needed to have exposure to this space. They needed to understand this industry, and they needed to see themselves on stages talking about this industry. That to me is the power and difference of, and I'm gonna say this, is like an unbought black leader who is willing to partner with organizations, but not necessarily be co-opted or manipulated. I think there's a real, in my opinion, outside looking in, there's a real temptation to just take the bread and let people do whatever they want to do with your logo. And I could tell when I looked around and I saw Black Men in Tech, I saw the BMIT, I saw the colors, I saw all the marquee, I saw everything. I saw the people, I saw your sister, I believe I saw your wife, I saw people there, and it was obvious that there was a genuine care around, hey, here's how we're going to treat this brand. And yes, we're going to work with insert low company here, but here's how we're going to operate with this brand, and here's how we're going to be presented, and here's what we're going to present. Like, talk to me about the attitude and mindset behind the Thrive conference, why it is, and then what you're so excited about with Thrive this year. I had to give you your flowers to your face because I'm inspired.
I appreciate it so much, man. Thrive is a labor of love. We started 5 years ago, and I literally did a conference for one sole purpose. The sole purpose of Thrive in its first year, it wasn't even called Thrive. It was called Black Men in Tech something, right? But I wanted to do it because it was the Zoom calls in 2020 was so rich with information. I'm like, everybody got to get a taste of this, right? Everybody was doing stuff. We had conferences in 2021. We was in the middle of a pandemic. People were figuring it out. And I said, I'm gonna do a virtual joint, and I'm gonna do it for free. Why? Because ain't nobody got no money. And if people are really donating their time and energy to speak on these panels and these things, well, then why not? So I built it for information. I built it for access. I built it for just the community to get together in unconventional ways. You can talk and chat, or you can vibe and hang out. Everybody do it differently. So that's why I built it. And then year 5 this year, that's why we're going to continue it. It's just the thought process. Like you said, you see students, high school students, you see college students, you see young professionals, mid-level and senior, all in the same space. I think, in my opinion, that's one of the rare things that what make us unique is that we're intentional about every space that we deal in, every space that we work on, and it's about the uplift. I want representation to happen where people I was talking to someone. I was like, imagine seeing the high school student that can see a college student, and they can talk to a college student directly and say, hey, why did you apply to this university? And then that same college student turn around and talk to an early career individual and then tell them, hey, I need an internship. And then that same person that got the internship now telling the mid-level career, I'm ready to be from an IC to a manager. You see the pipeline we created? All from one single conversation. And to me, that's keeping the main thing. Like, we're talking about growth. We're talking about expanding minds. I wish I would have knew about tech or anything that I knew back in high school, right? And if we start there, some people say middle school. I like a high school student because they're on a path. So, if you keep that I call it stair step, going up the next ladder, it makes it fun and enjoyable. And they see people that look like them in senior roles. You see CEOs, SVPs walking around conference, no badge in sight, because no one really cares who you are. They just cares what you bring to the table and what conversation you have. You see college students light up when they start new chapters at their school. I'm taking this back to my university. You see people that not only charged up for the weekend, but also continually follow up. We got cats coming from Hawaii this year. We got cats coming from London, Amsterdam. We got cats coming from Jamaica. We got cats coming from all over the world. You feel me? To South Florida to come hang out with us. That's what makes me excited. That's what makes me excited because if they did not value what we do all year long, there's no way they spend their money, they hard earned money
Mm-hmm.
to come down and hang out with us for 3 days. So that's an exciting piece, man. This is the fifth year of Thrive, man. We are locked in and it's all about but just continuing to do the work in a necessary way year round and celebrating at the end of each year.
It's a beautiful thing, right? I really cannot speak. I don't know how much more fervently I could speak about it. I think about, um, and I love I love the community. I believe when I think about like Thrive, I believe Thrive is the proof of a living intentional community focused on impact. Because to your point, if it wasn't for the messaging and events and things and points of engagement you were having around the year, you wouldn't have the same galvanization for the event
Right.
in Q3 Q4. So
Yep. Yep.
let's talk a little bit about just like as we think about look forward, right? You and I have conversations about the future often as it pertains to what does work look like, what does sustainability
Mm.
look like for organizations that do work that you do, that do work that Living Corporate does. When you think about 2026, right? Because I mean, honestly, we're going to look up and it's going to be the new year.
Right.
What are things top of mind for you as it pertains to Black men in tech? Yes, but then also just to like the world of work.
Yeah. So for me, I think the world of work will look very different. It's already looking different now. You know, AI has become the thing, and people are having to use AI in different ways, and AI has been very helpful in so many ways to individuals in their work style. But we'll have to adapt, and we'll adapt every couple of years anyway. So it's not like anything different. Even Black men in tech as a whole, you'll see Black men in tech in 2026 in a new way, right? And the thought process is that as the world changed, so should you. You should never stay so stagnant that you don't move with the wave or continue to move and evolve. If you're not evolving, then you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're dead, you're not making impact. So for us, it's about just continually to ever evolve. And then your skill set for the job force continue to ever evolve. The way you got jobs, the way you operated, the way it's going to be a new way of working. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid of that. Just learn it. A lot of people say AI taking all the job. But you got to learn how to use AI,
Right.
right? Because the people with understanding how to use AI is going to take your job,
Right.
right? So understand the mechanisms and the things that's going to help you. Be a forever learner. Be a space where you can continue to learn and evolve. And as long as you are agile enough and flexible to be able to move with the wave, then you'll be okay. It's when people are stagnant, stuck in their ways, don't want to move, think this is the way, oh, blah, 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 that they just stay stuck and they never move. So for me, 2026 is just about just reshaping and reforming the mindset of the individuals and the mindsets of Black men in tech that offer something new. The same thing you did 5 years ago, you can't do it for the next 5 years.
Right.
It's not gonna work like that. The world isn't the same in the 5 years. So
No.
we as an org, we need to operate in a way that the next 5 years is going to be the best 5 years because now we have a new platform and a new way to work.
There's something to be said. I think about, especially when you talk about AI, right? And I remember feeling this way even when like getting PMPs and Lean Six Sigma certification. These things were like really in vogue. This was like probably back in like 2012, 2013. I remember people loved Six Sigma. People loved PMPs. And like, not to say people don't have respect for them now, but I feel like, especially in the energy space and operations, people just drooled over that stuff. And something that I remember doing was I got my Lean Six Sigma certification and got a green belt. I got a yellow belt and a green belt. And then I did some lean. I did some.
Karate too?
Say it one more time.
So you do karate
A
too?
little bit, little. You know what I'm
Green
saying?
belt, yeah,
Yeah, man. I
black.
get the. What's that man? What's my name? What's my man name for Martin when Martin just as a karate dude? I was him. But
Right, right.
I'm super similar actually. He taught me. So he was like, But the point is, like, I'm thinking about, I did capstone projects, and I built my own portfolio of like, hey, here's how I used this tool, because I know
Mm-hmm.
y'all are excited about it. I think that now is the season. This is always the season, but now especially, like in economic times when we're looking, there's several signs of a recession. We're currently in
Mm-hmm.
recession, but there's signs of something worse coming. In
Mm-hmm.
times where roles are harder to come by, relationship is important. But then, like, also help making it easy for your relationship to work for you is important. So, like, wouldn't it be great if I say, hey, Cam, I saw you know so and so, can you introduce me? Here's an email or here's something. And in that email, there's an example of like AI projects that I've created, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
there's something relevant, so that one, when you leverage and burn some of your equity, or rather when you leverage your relationship, you're building equity with the relationship and not burning equity, right? I think
Yeah.
like I want to I think that that's really under discussed when we talk about relationships and being willing to be connecting. If if you and I have a relationship, but when you introduce me to somebody, I flake on them, or
Mm-hmm.
my resume isn't strong, or my profile is weak, or whatever the case is, then
Mm-hmm.
not only did I wasted an opportunity and like that I could have had from a relationship you had, but then you also burn equity with that. You burn equity with that person because they pulled away that they used some of their time because they trusted you that, oh well, if it's Cam, he's gonna bring me something that is worth my time. So then
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna then create challenges down the road when you want to introduce somebody else. The further it
Right.
burns equity with you and me because okay, Zach, you asked me to help you. I introduced somebody and then you flaked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you met with them and you was picking your nose the whole time, or whatever the case is. You looking weird, right? Like, come on, man. Like, you got me looking crazy. They think I'm crazy because you moving crazy. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to be said about when there are new tech trends. Have something in your portfolio that shows that you've actually have some real thought leadership around it.
Yeah.
Because to your point, I yes, there's going to be tons of organizations that are going to claim that AI is taking jobs, and while I do believe the AI bubble is going to pop. It's going to shrink. It's going to dramatically change. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
AI is necessarily going to take your job, but I 100% agree with you that people who know AI are going to take your job,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, like, what do you do to like be proactive with that? Well, you have your own point of view so that when you sit down and you're talking, you're networking, you're interviewing, you can talk tactically and specifically about, hey, well, here's when I think about insert industry that you're in, here's where I think that this tool can be supportive or helpful. Here's what I've built or done with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about like just the world of work being different, what is it? And you talk about black men in tech shifting and changing.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about? Where do you see community going? Right? Because like I think about as things become more expensive, right? To your earlier point, like, hey, you started this whole conference for free because people had no money.
Mm-hmm.
Things are getting increasingly expensive. I went to the grocery store yesterday. Eggs was like $75. Like
Man, how much a milk?
I was like 80, 89, 89.50. So
57 cents.
so but like I'm saying, like it's gonna get increasingly expensive for people to move. And I think about who black men in tech serve, right? Which are
Yeah.
typically people on the margins who are already challenged, right? Financially, often
Right.
challenged financially just because of the nature of this world.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about like what like without giving away the sauce, I know you're working on a bunch of different things. Do you envision community looking different?
Of course. Of course. So think about it this way, Zach. 5 years ago, everybody was working from home,
Mm-hmm.
right? By choice, by force, just because the world was different. 5 years fast forward, if you tell somebody to go in the office now, they'd be like, "What? Like I'm not doing that." You know, I nixed this whole job. Forget this, right? And granted, there's some social proof and some data points that support working from home as well as support the counter return to office. Still depends on where you sit on the fence. You know, it's your argument to make. I don't feel any one way about it. Um, I think now when you think about work and community, it has to be a place that is intentional, but also has to be a place that it's actionable. What that means is that, even think about it, your employee resource groups are going to look very different, right? It may be more blended. They may go away. They may not be funded, right? They may be a part of the employee experience strategy or employee engagement strategy, right? And that strategy isn't just putting on a happy hour, doing your heritage months and moving on,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's going to be more, probably more voluntold experiences where you have people from marginalized and underrepresented groups that's been asked to do things internally to the company to keep the morale up, and you might not get paid for it, right? And then again, that's your choice to make. You can make an argument each way for it, but what I would say, what we have to do is make sure that we don't become obsolete, or we don't exist anymore. We meaning people of a marginalized group, people underrepresented group, in spaces, right? Because it's so few of us at companies anyway. We have to make sure we know each other and band together. Like, we have to make sure that we still hold space for us, even if the company cannot, for various reasons, or isn't necessarily its focus. I don't believe that all companies want to disband or make inclusion or diversity or whatever your company call it disappear. I just think that in the list of priorities, which is one, making sure that the company stays afloat so you can continue to get paid. It's not always the top of mind thing, but it could be the top of mind thing for the individuals that's seeking the community. And sometimes, and this might not be popular opinion, but sometimes it's on us to take care of us and make sure people see us,
Yeah.
right? You can't put it on someone that really is not his priority. So for me, community means 2026 and beyond, making sure that there's a space for you to operate and giving grace and space for other people to operate around you, but don't get lost in the fact of trying to be something or be or measure up to someone else, but run your own race and continue to build.
Man, like,
So yeah, that's my thought process,
man,
man, about what it looks
I
like.
love it, and you're right. I think it was, well, what's tough, and man, we coming up on time, and so we're going to do a part two. Let's do a part two after Thrive. No, let's do a part two.
But look, they don't realize we talk like this to each other off camera.
Oh
So
no, I'm gonna be. Look, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 by how much I'm not. Well, so yeah, yes, you're right. I want to. There's some more stuff I want to talk about, and we got it. And you're right. We do talk. We talk about this off mic all the time. But I want to say. I want to say for the sake of this audience is like, what's challenging is I believe that the the worker, the black and brown employee, is about to be faced with a call to something they may have not been practicing up to now. So you're right. We cannot, it is silly, it's foolish to expect for people on the margins, to expect people in the majority to prioritize their unique experience at work.
right,
And yet that is what they may have an expectation to be doing or have been doing. So many of us in these roles are going to be positioned and pressure, like, we're going to need to do something that we maybe haven't practiced before, which is really
mm-hmm.
building community on our own
mm,
without the corporate
yeah,
say green light. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be tiring, and it's going to be uncomfortable,
yep,
and you're going to realize that all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and people don't, there's going to be, you're going to, like, the work of, like, all of the pain points of building community, doing it in a really non-communal season
mm-hmm.
is going to be, challenging. And I think I'll say this as we close. Is like, I think there's something powerful about people having black men in tech as an example of what community building around a mission and purpose looks like. I don't think that I've seen a stronger community of people, of black and brown people, historically marginalized people, coming together for the sake of learning and corporate empowerment and community uplift, like I have with y'all. Like, it's genuinely one of one. And so I'm excited about Thrive. I'm excited about Black Men in Tech. I'm excited about you. I'm excited. I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna be selfish. I'm excited about you and I's relationship. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm excited. You truly give me hope because you and I be having real conversations off mic where we give it up about a bunch of different challenges that we
Right.
have that we're almost like just I don't even know how else to say it. It's like we're just like oddly linked in terms of like how similar our challenges are. It's just
Mhm.
very it's eerie if I don't know another word for it. It's just very odd. I've never seen that before. And so
Mhm.
look, man, before I let you go, please plug Black Men in Tech Thrive conference.
Yeah.
Where can people learn
Yeah.
more? Where can people register? Where can people engage?
Yeah. All right, check this out. So, Black Men in Tech is an organization that's founded just principles of Black men and Black people being their whole selves in the space, also helping people get jobs and building community. You can find us at BLK. That's how we spell Black. BLKMENINTECH on all social platforms. Also, please visit our websites www.blackmenintech.com. Thrive is coming up October 2nd through the 5th in Fort Lauderdale on the beach, 30 steps away. We are packed and ready to welcome you to South Florida. So please, please, if you haven't bought your ticket yet, please get your ticket. Please get your flight. Come down. Yes, it's an investment, but it's an investment in you. All right. Low cost, high reward, great time. Great speakers. We're going to have an awesome time. And this is our 5th year. So our 5th year is definitely special to us. So again, Thrive, October 2nd through the 5th, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on the beach. Come hang out with us. Only tech conference on the beach, I think. So come hang out with us. Zach, thank you for the opportunity, man. I never discount, our relationship and the fact that, we're brothers and we get it done. And we support each other in and day out. So shout out to you, man, Living Corporate. Shout out to everyone that's supporting the cause, and let's keep it going.
I love it, man. Y'all heard it here. I ain't got nothing else to say. Peace.
All right, cool.
Living Corporate is a podcast by Living Corporate LLC. Our logo was designed by David Dawkins. Our theme music was produced by Ken Brown. Additional music production by Antoine Franklin for Musical Elevation. Post-production is handled by Jeremy Jackson. Got a topic suggestion? Email us at livingcorporatepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and living-corporate.com. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.